The MLB All-Star break is coming to an end, which means that we have officially entered into trade deadline season, and we have a ton of potential MLB trade rumors that we gotta talk about, folks. Let's get into the discussion. The first team that I want to talk about here is the New York Mets. Obviously, the Mets, they walked into this season, they had some massive aspirations, right? They were top 5 in World Series odds in the preseason. They were just coming off of an offseason with a lot of spending, bringing in some outside talent, and just on paper, they looked like a very legitimate World Series contender. Now, of course, it's one thing to be good on paper. It is a completely different thing to translate that to good baseball. And sadly, the New York Mets, they're learning that the hard way right now, guys. They're 4th in their division. They're 8 games below 500. And a lot of people have listed the New York Mets as being the most disappointing team of this 2023 MLB season. For the last few seasons, all we've seen the New York Mets do is just buy. They trade for the big guy. They bring in the big name. But I don't think that's what's going to be happening this trade deadline, and it looks like the players on the New York Mets team, they don't think that either. It was revealed that the New York Mets players believe that they could become sellers come deadline, and this is a big deal because Steve Cohen, we haven't seen that guy like to sell stuff off, right? So if he's doing that, it means that he truly believes there's nothing to be brought in to fix this team. And 2, and maybe most importantly, there is still a lot of talent on that ball club, right? A lot of potential players that other contending teams might want to trade for. Now, the first player that I just want to write off immediately is Pete Alonso. Some people on the internet were suggesting maybe Alonso could get traded. That is completely ridiculous. Alonso is a top-tier talent. He's still young. He is literally the identity of the New York Mets, and he even had John Heyman and Ken Rosenthal both agreeing that Alonso getting traded would be extremely unlikely, so that's just something that's not going to happen, folks. Now, even though Alonso probably isn't going anywhere, the same can't be said for Mr. Max Scherzer. Anthony DeComo writes, Max Scherzer, who turns 39 in July, wants to compete for a championship, and that's unlikely to happen in New York this year. As a result, there's buzz around the league that the 3-time Cy Young Award winner is open to waiving his no-trade clause if the right offer comes along. Now, Scherzer's not having the season that we're all accustomed to seeing. He's currently got an ERA of 4.31, which is good, but it's not great. But you also got to factor in that this is a veteran, right? This is a dude who has won a World Series before. I truly cannot think of a better guy to bring in than a Max Scherzer type of player, especially if he can refine his game, which, let's face it, guys, he's Max Scherzer. I feel like at some point this season, he's going to do it. So the Mets probably going to be big sellers this trade deadline, but what about the LA Angels? A Shohei Ohtani trade. Now, this is something that's been talked about for years, right? I feel like we've been having this conversation for literally seasons now, and I hate to be the one to throw some water onto this fire, but it's looking unlikely that it's going to happen, folks. John Heyman said, logic says Ohtani has to go, but trading arguably the greatest player ever goes beyond an analytic calculation. And 2 people who know Angels owner Arte Moreno said Sunday that they still don't believe he will ultimately pull that trigger. Now, I still think it is possible that Ohtani could get traded, but I think what we need to see is the LA Angels in the next few weeks leading up to the trade deadline, they need to lose a lot of games. If they go on a winning streak of some kind, pick up a bunch of W's, and kind of flirt with that wildcard spot, then yeah, of course, they're not going to be trading Ohtani. But if they come out, if they lose a bunch of games, if they get to a place where it's just looking increasingly unlikely that there's no way they're going to make a wildcard spot, I just feel like you have to get rid of him, you know what I mean? If it does actually happen though, folks, we are literally going to be witnessing history because this might be the biggest trade to ever happen, ever. Next, let's talk about the St. Louis Cardinals, and let's talk about the Blue Jays. Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. Now, we've been talking on this channel for a long time about those St. Louis Cardinals starters, right? Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery. Well, Ken Rosenthal came out and reported that the Cardinals pair of Jordan Montgomery and Jack Flaherty are as good as gone. This article says one player who could find himself on the move is starting pitcher and free agent to be Jordan Montgomery. And 2 teams that reportedly could be interested are the Toronto Blue Jays and Philadelphia Phillies. So there you have it, folks. The Toronto Blue Jays are absolutely absolutely interested, and we have seen our upper management come out and say that they want to bring in more starting pitchers. They want to surround Hyun-Jin Ryu and Alek Manoah with support to take the load off of them a little bit. Montgomery is having a fabulous year, and I am fully here for it if the Toronto Blue Jays want to go out, they want to bring this dude in, especially because he's literally on a one-year deal. Like, you have nothing to lose. But guys, those are the MLB trade rumors that we have for you today. Comment your thoughts down below about all of these. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Jays go!